And what has been a surely exciting day. We just got news here, and this is breaking news. The Supreme Court does not rule on Trump's tariffs today, which should be nice and volatile to the upside for crypto. If you watched, I put a morning update up about XDC, just a 60-second one that just came out not too long ago. About if you haven't bought the zone, we're within that area of concern where if you didn't buy and you're looking for some opportunity, it's getting within that zone. So down to 435 approximately. With the way the market seems like it's going to move, if in fact it does, there's been a lot of news about XDC that came out. And this seems to be a dump before some kind of incredible expansion. So I wouldn't look at this as a kick in the nuts. I would be looking at this for XDC as a historical opportunity, especially if it continues to get cheaper and cheaper. Like even XDC came out, the creator, the foundation, they all came out and talked about what just happened, and it's a pretty incredible thing how much they've expanded, maybe even to a deeper level than we give. We talk about XRP, the expansion into the central banks and for control of the financial systems. For the price point, I think XDC is getting severely overlooked. I mean, we're talking about now we're down to 4.56 cents. It's incredible that in 2026, XDC can be at 4.56 cents, and many people look at it and say, nope. Holy Toledo. Silver. And we have to see how this plays out once this cup and handle finishes at about 93. Because once again, the COMEX in the USA has done some shady shit overnight, and it hasn't really been felt yet, but it will. They raised the capital requirements to a pretty extreme level once again. Now you're going to have to add another about $20,000 for every, I believe it's 1,000 kilos that they own. So we'll see what happens when we get to 93. I showed yesterday the rise up that could get us to 107. Right now we have an imbalance, which generally it gets filled, but we don't know when this push happens. But the imbalance is around 82 to 83 zone. So if you're looking for miners, if you're looking for a loading zone, if we do get a little bit of a, and it's not even a pullback. I mean, come on, we're talking about 83 freaking dollars. But if you're looking for an opportunity, 82 or 83 would be the zone to look at. And that would be your imbalance zone. So just wanted to update that this morning. Gold's looking fine. Up about 0.75%. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening here. We had a little bit of volatility this morning. I know it went from like 90. It might have been 93. Well, no, not quite. Well, it was close. 92.20, and then I think it went down to like, what was that little downturn? It was barely anything. Yeah, $90.11. But I definitely want to see how that new capital requirement affects it. They're trying anything and everything. If you own gold and silver physical bullion, I don't care what you do with your miners, but your physical bullion, for me, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Brendan, charting silver is a waste of time. You sure about that? Don't leave yourself short-sighted and don't leave yourself uneducated in the charts. My friend, if it's so unpredictable, how could we have predicted this exact movement before it even happened? Because of the charts, it gave us a cup and handle over many, many decades. The cup and the handle over a 14-year period. So I told you need to load up for this move. You ever think maybe the charts aren't manipulated and maybe the charts talk about everything else that's going to happen from a world standpoint? Building up in this very long handle should have told us that something severe is going to happen in our world, in the U.S. economy. Every time somebody tells me the charts don't matter, they're manipulated, there's no reason to look at them. Do you realize that's how I gained my wealth that I have? Was because of the charts? When I started on here doing this, I told everybody my positioning, where we were at. And I'll just think about it now that silver's progressed and gold's progressed and the miners progressed and the crypto progressed, and we were able to No offense. And I'll tell you what not to be offended about in a minute. Good morning. 10:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, the home where 6 people unsubscribed yesterday. And I reside in the great state of Michigan. So you shouldn't feel insulted, emotional, or even bad about the question or the response, because it's always a building process. So the charts can tell you when to get in, get out. They can tell you at the risk asset something isn't right or something's actually very explosive. They can give you a hint at what's going to happen in the world news. Like seeing the crypto chart, we should have guessed the tariff thing wasn't going to pass because we were going to have some volatility. But all in all, I don't sell yourself short-sighted, my friend. Don't do that. Learn the charts. Embrace the charts. Make the charts your bitch. Because once you do that, you're going to be able to predict the news. You'll be able to predict everything. This isn't by accident. I always tell people, forget the miners for a second because they're volatile. Look at the asset, silver. Look at the asset of gold. It's going to change your world, not just yours. Not just yours. I've been saying this since 21 to my audience, especially in 22 when we started the silver stacking series, that you're not building for yourself right now with the silver and gold. You're building for your kids, the next generation. Oh, if we're talking about robots who prefer crypto payments, you know, we've already lost by that point anyhow. By the time the robots come, this is a moot point anyhow. Well, never mind, they're already here. But there's a serious, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother problem. The digital zone. But I have a philosophy here. I have a philosophy. And again, thank you guys. Whoever gave one to my Facebook page, now we're ripping it. 101,000 views on January 12th. Yesterday, 114,000 views. You know, I know how to stir controversy, believe me. Believe me. So, went in a different direction there and started to put some stuff out there. And it's, let's just say a lot of people talking. Got a lot of people talking. A lot of people might be talking. But what I wanted to talk about, and I think this is really true. Maybe we'll get some of you talking. Maybe it'll get some of you talking. Not that. See, I do so much right here. Because this, I think, is more true. And I've talked about this in the past about, I think we're going to get up to $20. I do. Where the hell did this go? But I think it comes at a price. So I said XRP to $20 is a certain. This causes the ruckus. Is a certainty, but the price is a bribe. The sheer blindness of the retail investor is breathtaking. As we're all, me, you, and everybody else included, is staring at charts, because I'm retail, waiting for the $10 to $20 parabolic explosion. And make no mistake, the Pentagon architects will let it happen. But have you asked yourself why? They need you jubilant. They need you blinded by gains so you don't see the liquidity lockdown. And to my further point of this, I think the reason they pay the influencers to fud it up with 589, 1,000, 10,000 is because when we get a run to $10 to $20, most people are going to be criticizing the crap out of it, saying, I can't believe this is all we did. But at the same time, we're being psyoped. And listen a little bit deeper. They need you blinded by gains so you don't see the liquidity lockdown being programmed into the back end. While the bulls and bears fight for the scraps, the military-industrial complex is finalizing Project Mirror. The plan, let retail pump XRP to $20, create the ultimate wealth effect, and then at the moment of peak euphoria, flip the switch to private central bank-only ledgers. So what that means is our value might go up exponentially. Look what's happened in some of these other countries. Look how Bitcoin went up millions of percent in some of these other countries, but their bottom line is it's shit. Because in value, what they didn't tell you is in this one country they kept showing, it's actually worth $23,000 American, which means it actually went down 75%, but in their own money. But anyhow, I believe that that's what's happening here. So by the time we see all this money on the screen, our dollar is going to be so devalued that, yeah, the dollar is going up, but we're just keeping up with the rate of return. So we'll be okay with that movement. Just like if you have silver and gold, you'll at least be able to keep up with the rate of return, and that's all you're trying to do, your currency. So this is a good way to go around it. So I think this is going to happen. I haven't talked about the $20 push for years for no reason. I think this is the plan by the federal government, and they pay the shills, the influencers, the one who don't have our best interest at hand, to assault us in thinking that you got to hold all the way through. And if it doesn't hit 1,000 or $589 or 10,000, it's not, the plan is higher. I think we really need to focus on that $20 mark. I think it's in good fundamentals. I think it's in good technicals that we can get here. I think we can get here. And this is what I'm going to be targeting, that $20 push. But I love keeping the spelling errors now on Facebook, because people will complain about spelling errors of AI. Like you've put it in there yourself and can't spell, and I love it. But anyhow, you're being paid to leave the game. Are you ready to be a millionaire in system you no longer control? And that's the truth. And that's the real wealth transfer. And I think by having the right crypto, and another thing I shared, which is why I think you should be on Facebook. I just put it on before I started. And I think this gives a lot of credit to XRP and the real utility ones. So CoinGecko just released not too long ago about how 11.6 million cryptocurrencies went bankrupt to zero. You lost every penny in 2025 alone. That's over, read it again, that's over 11 million projects went to absolutely zero. That is the sound of millions of people being used as exit liquidity while chasing the next 1,000x movement. And they're clowns. They are. Because you don't need to do that. If you're still gambling on random tokens with no purpose, you aren't an investor, you're a victim. The market is finally flushing out the garbage, and it's about time. The only projects left standing will be the ones that actually do something. Unless a coin offers massive global utility like XRP, it's a ticking time bomb. Remember, we talked about XDC for this purpose. We talked about XLM for this purpose. We talked about HBAR and Algo and a lot of the others that we talk about for a reason. Unless a coin offers massive global utility like XRP, it's a ticking time bomb. While the Moon Boys are losing their shirts on 11.6 million failed scams, XRP is actually moving real money for real institutions. The era of get-rich-quick memes is over. Yes, there's going to be some that are going to happen, but the majority, they always rug pull. Always, 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 and you have to be so quick. And most of the time on the screen when those memes go up, let's just be honest, when they go up, it's just a liquidity trap by the one person who created this pile of shit. They put a whole bunch of money into it. It makes it seem like the value goes up. They start letting you enter it. Nobody's selling, so the price keeps going up exponentially. The moment they sell even 5% of what they put in, the price drops 30%. You look at it and they go, hey, that's okay. Now you got to be the strong hands. This is where the big money comes in, the dip. If you're strong, you buy in, and you'll see it all over TikTok, people doing this, and they'll talk about the hook. And be like, this is where it comes up, and then they'll feed in a little bit, and then people get all crazy, and it comes back up 50. Oh my God. And then they dump it all, and they run away. And then you're part of one of these 11.6 million scams. So like the era of get rich memes is over. Are you holding real utility, or are you just waiting for your coin to be the next on the failure list? And I really believe that this is what's happening, and we're doing it very secretly. And it's the great crypto purge, and XRP does defy the odds because it's been implemented within the institutionals. And I think it's true. But whether or not we break, here's the question I have for all of you. I don't put price targets on dates because it's impossible. Just like I talked about silver going to $93 back in 22, and everybody kept asking me, when is it going to happen? I said, no reason to make a price prediction. We know where it's going. You just have to be patient. Now I believe someone's going to get kicked in the dick at some point. Like, let's just call it for what it is. Someone's going to get their pants because they're going to buy not the silver at 91. They're going to buy stuff that's related to silver. And the first time silver has to go back to an imbalance and they see a 10% drop on like some of the exploration ones or some of the, let's just say the paper silver when they see 10%, or the miners, which is in a sense still paper because you can't hold the miner, but at least it gets the shit out of the ground. But somebody's going to sit there and they're going to do something stupid. They're going to buy silver on paper at 91. Let's say it goes to imbalance and it goes to 97 and then it comes back and they're going to be shitting their pants. Oh my God, I'm up 6. or it goes, but once it hits that imbalance zone, or the first time we get a 10% movement, and remember how quick it built it back up, they're going to sell it, and they're going to be the people that, oh, they're going to look back. Please don't be that person who looks back. I don't care if you buy silver at 93 or 92 today and it drops to 50. Don't you sell it if it's physical. These numbers are going to look like chump change in 2028, in 2027. Look at XRP. This looks like it's getting ready for a bounce, hopefully, from where it's at. And the cool thing is it fills out this entire pattern to the up direction. If it holds, I just move this up. Instead of coming all the way down to here, we just move this to here to make the W because that's where it created it. But I guess it already tried to do this. It created it overnight. We didn't know where it was going to happen on the back test. And then remember how we created that head formation? This actually did it in a better way than I could have ever hoped for. It created a big W reversal on a bull flag. Forget this. We're going to have to let this run up on its own now. But this is the best formation we could have formed after all. Is anybody excited this morning? I'm sorry. Are you not excited because I don't have my hat on? I apologize. Are you excited now? This morning? Yes, TD Bank. If it stays over $85 on the close on Friday, they're done. Yes, you heard that right. If silver closes Friday's contracts at $85 or more, TD is bankrupt. They don't have the silver to cover this huge margin call. Like, are you not entertained? Like, seriously. Look at, I did a nice workout this morning. The guns are pumping. Crypto's trying to pump. Silver's making us rich. Silver's legitimately, think about it this way. When I was buying the kilo bars, the 100-ounce bars, when I would buy them, and I only did it a couple times on air, back in 22, and I have it on Silver Stackers, the 100-ounce kilo bar, guys, this will make you shit your pants, was, oh, it makes me want to throw up. There was one I purchased with the premiums, and it was like 2,100 and something on the Silver Stacker from Scottsdale, man. I'll never forget. Maybe it was under that, but I know we had to pay a premium because of where silver was at. Now, for that same bar, you can't even buy a 1 kilo, like a 100-ounce bar of silver. Let's just say not a kilo, like just well, I guess a kilo. A 100-ounce bar of silver. You can't even buy it on Jambolian for under $10,000. The same bar, the same 100-ounce bar, guys, that we bought for $2,300 is now 10 grand. You want to talk about a wealth transfer that most people are missing? That's what I keep saying. At this point, forget the miners even exist for a minute. Notice I took the miners off. Julie told me you got to take a break from looking at the miners. You're getting too obsessed because of how high it's going. Because every day, you know, when it was at $30,000 in the portfolio, hey, you know, you make 4,000. Now all of a sudden it's like every day you get a few percent up. You're like, hey, now we're back to 6 figures again in mix. So Julie said you got to delete these for a couple days. So I listened. So I said we had a big move up. We're just going to focus on silver and gold and not talk about. I promised her I would not talk about the miners' price today. So I'm not even going to look at the miners' price because I don't care. Because we have to start talking about the fundamental asset. Just like with crypto, we need to talk about the fundamental asset. XRP is my fundamental asset to all of this. My ace in the hole, oh, buddy, my ace in the hole is XDC. This guy, when it finally figures its shit out, when it will, is going to bring us to the promised land. XRP started it. A few of them are going to finish it. The only question is, and let me, the reason I don't want to keep the hat on is let's be honest, because it's not 100% good. Plus my hair is nice today, like Julie said. Are we going to follow XDC? And is it 1 week ahead? I have to paint that question for a reason. Because if XDC's been ahead and it's trying to do all this stuff before the rest, isn't it fair to say we had a move up, a reversal, the move down? Is it fair to say We have the move up, the reversal to start, and then the move down. I'm just painting a question to everybody, and please don't shoot the messenger, people. And I got to find my phone, but please, I'm just asking an honest question. And don't get pissed. I'm asking an honest question, not for everybody to beat up Tom. Don't get mad at old Gil. You know, we try to look at things ahead of time, so please, 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 don't get pissed at Tom if this happens. Look at it as me trying to give some insight if this happens after all. But does anybody have any questions? And I believe that's what's happening, so until it proves otherwise, be careful. Because I don't think XDC is doing it on its own. But we have to see, because there is a chance, maybe, who the hell knows? Taking silver profits. Are you in paper silver or physical silver? Because I believe you can't sell physical. True, what's going on? True, I'm so glad you're in here. Many blessings to you as well, my good friend. True's been in here for a very long time. Big blessing to the community. Helped out so much in the last bear market. So much. He really helped. Oh, paper, good. That's a different story. The reason you buy physical silver is for expansion like this, and they can manipulate it. With where XDC and some of these cryptos are going, I wouldn't hate on it. You just have to make sure you find the right balance. Because right now, we haven't done anything crazy, okay? We haven't broken down. Nothing like that's happened. We just have to pose the question, what if? What if? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying, is it a fair question to pose with what XDC did? And some of these candles, because XDC made a second artificial run-up, and then by Friday or Saturday, it pulled right back down. Are we looking at history repeating itself here because they've already created the reversal candles? I'm serious. Like, are we seeing? And it's scary because it kind of looks like it. Like, even the ones that are up 3-4%. Look, they built a reversal candle. It's perfectly built if it just breaks down now by the end of the week. Yeah, we're getting close to my projection. Does anybody remember my projection in the silver stackers? I know some of you weren't here. I can show you. I haven't shown it in a long time. My projection on where you could flip and where we would probably get the first reversal was when we got down to 46.672 was my projection. My projection was 46.672 area was where the gold-silver ratio was going to go. And remember, when I was making these projections, we were up at, where was this? Right here. We were up at 95, and then we thought we could come back up and hit this area, but then we've quickly learned that this resistance in 25 was not going to yield. It did come up to 106, but this was my projection back in 22. And then we still think it's going to go lower in time, but that's where I thought we could get a real big reversal, which could mean that that's where we have a retracement in gold and silver, but silver is going to correct a lot harder, especially if it goes back to an imbalance zone. We're going to get a little bit of a correction. Now, I'm not saying we're going to come all the way back up. I don't think we're at that phase right now. I think this will continue to come back down. We're supposed to be around 10-1. If you look at it, it should be a 10-1. I mean, in its history, though, I mean, you don't have many areas where you can even look at that. You know, you came, but in earlier history where it's not represented in the gold-silver ratio. But anyhow, let's not get demoralized with crypto, but let's just understand what we're dealing with crypto. The other thing we have to pay close attention to, remember how I kept saying, guys, I'm comfortable because we never came back up and retested the rising wedge. Well, I mean, now you got to start talking like, okay, well, the rising wedge is at 99 and we came up to 97. I mean, now we've actually have retested the rising wedge. Not 100%, but we've come back into the area. The weekly's turning up, which is good to see. Oh, good. Here comes that cold, snowy. All of a sudden, we're getting into a vortex here. And all of a sudden, remember the 50-degree days we had not too long ago? That just went back down to 18 overnight. Now all of a sudden we're going to have highs of 14 like a couple days from now. And we're starting to pull in now to that weather. Good times, good times. So now we're starting to work back up into this zone. We still have room though. It's not over yet. I still have a hard time believing that it's over right now because here. I have a hard time believing it's over. Much like silver when it didn't hit 93, Bitcoin is destined to hit that area. It's destined. It just is giving me a mind. I told you, what keeps me up at night is watching the XDC chart because is this trying to... And the other thing with physical silver, yes, the yen, Japan, it went to shit, and they said if that happened that they were going to have to sell a lot of silver to cover a lot of their budget style stuff, which is nothing for them. This would be the ultimate rug pull on other countries if they started to have to sell their stuff. I don't know. If I'm being honest, does it not feel so? Something don't feel right. Something don't feel right, damn it. And I don't want to give you the false illusion that something isn't. But it feels like something's going on here. I don't know exactly when that moment is, but I think we're getting close. Something's going on around here. I don't think the BRICS are going to play the same role as they play now, if that's what you're asking. I think Japan's going to be the front of a lot of this, and people should really be thinking about it long, hard, deep, thoroughly. Silver hasn't hit 93, though. I will say that. It hasn't hit the cup and handle technical target. And people will be like, the technical target, look how close it is. Couldn't you have been wrong? Very unlikely because we tested the... Well, I mean, I guess I could be a little wrong, but I still think 93 was a perfect target. I'm not wrong in this regard. But how would we have known? And look at all the areas of concern. Like, how would we have known? Good areas. It's a crazy, crazy time. Man, when it was breaking out back in $39, imagine that. Imagine that. Just sit back and embrace it for a moment. It's just embrace what's happening. You're at the frontier of every single switch and every single turn. Every single turn, you're basically at the forefront. YouTube bar is grayed out where the like button was. Yeah, that happens sometimes. That happens to me. I can't even like it on Julie's, on her account sometimes, because that's what I have it on this tablet. Yeah, Japan's yen is definitely a concern here, folks. I'm not going to act like it's not. And that's the conspiracy here with silver, that they're driving the price up so that they're going to be able to... Because in Shanghai, it's being driven... there's just a lot of stuff that goes into this crap. And then it's like the COMEX did their part by overnight, and it's not going to be affected yet. When I was reading into it, it sounds like you get... Because they always give that margin, that leniency. So what do you have, 24 hours to cover that? So I would imagine by Thursday or Friday, these capital requirements are going to be felt. And then also, what's the bank? The bank that's going to go insolvent if silver stays over 85. I know I was just watching it. Or reading.
In early 2026, the silver market is experiencing historic volatility, with prices recently hitting all-time highs near $88 per ounce. This surge has triggered...
So that's one. HSBC, if silver forecast 88, acknowledging blah, blah, blah. JP Morgan's fine. JP Morgan bought a shitload of silver so that they don't even have to worry. If it stays above 85 above Friday, emergency repo operations, watch for sudden large spikes in the Federal Reserve's repo, blah, blah, blah. Sure, we already talked about all this. So, yeah, Bank of America is one of them. But I know TD faces a big problem. TD margin call if silver stays over 85. No. I think it was TD. Was it TD Bank? Maybe I'm wrong. What the hell is this? I do have a lot of spelling errors apparently. Oops. Apparently I broke Google. Yep, you're right about that, Metacush. This is just the start. What I must have broke Google with my stupidity. Not 55, are you kidding? No. I know there was another one added to this list. If anybody knows, I cannot remember which one it was. Yeah, there was news on XDC. But they're not going to show me any of this? Margin calls already happened. Yada, yada, yada. Room social media. We'll look at it later. But let's look at the crypto fear and greed index real quick. I'm sorry. I don't want to make most of this audience leave because we're trying to find something that's not even really relevant. Holy shit, we're in trouble. Damn. We're definitely going to end up... Oh, man. Did we really go to 48? 48's a big jump in one day. That's kind of a kick in the nuts. Oh, that's some kick in the nuts. But, you know, we'll see. Fuck. I was certainly not hoping for that. Ooh, that kind of gives me my headache. The Zawa processor, so Zand, that's the big news. Zand adopts XDC network to advance blockchain-powered payments. Dubai is in a strategic partnership to deliver faster, more transparent, and cost-effective financial solutions. Zand, an AI-powered fintech and financial services group in the United Arab Emirates, has successfully concluded the integration of XDC network, a leading enterprise-grade blockchain platform. With this integration, corporate and institutional clients would be able to custody assets with XDC network through Zand's institutional-grade digital asset custody service, subject to applicable regulatory approvals. The integration also aims to help simplify the gold trading market through Comtech Gold, which combines the benefits of gold investment and the advantages of blockchain technology. See, I told you XDC was a bridge for RWAs. We are entering a new era where blockchain technology can serve as the foundation for more efficient and inclusive banking solutions. This collaboration with XDC Network supports our vision. See, so as everybody's focused on XRP, there's actually a lot more that we can invest in with the XRP we did at the appropriate time, and now we can look at others. This collaboration with XDC Network supports our vision of building blockchain-powered financial products to help bridge the gap between traditional finance and decentralized finance and advance the digital economy. At XDC Network, we believe that digital banks and enterprise blockchain platforms can work together to redefine the future of finance, said Ratish Kakad, co-founder of XDC Network. That's who I spoke of earlier. Our partnership with Zand brings together compliance, innovation, and real-world utility, proving that blockchain is helping to power the next generation of global payments and asset tokenization. Transactions processed on the XDC network are designed to be ISO 20022 compliant, ensuring future-proof interoperability and enhanced regulatory alignment. So this press release has forward-looking blah, blah, blah. You know, forward-looking what's happening. But anyhow, I would like to believe that XDC is the front runner probably to our drop right now. I can't help but think that until I don't have to think that. What do you think, guys? Do you think that XDC is front running this drop? The awkward moment Japan chooses Shiba over XRP. I'm going to lose my... Oh, I know. History sure does love irony. You're right about that, I also heard you. And thanks for being in town for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. If anybody's interested in live classes that'll be starting in February, make sure you look at the members only section and look at the upgraded part for live classes and see if that fits your narrative. I came up with a little pre-itinerary or pre-class syllabus that I'm going to post today so that everybody can kind of see what you're in for. And it'll be... You'll be able to talk through that section. We can actually communicate and chat on YouTube in that section, believe it or not, if you wanted to. A little bit of something different. But yeah, we'll see how much we can push, or if we do have some kind of reversal. I'll tell you, that capital requirement thing, it's something today. It's actually something today with silver. That capital requirement is not nothing. So, it's interesting. It's really interesting. I'm going to be interested to see all of this, how this ends up playing out. And I want to see if XDC is trying to tell us something in this market. Right now, we're okay. We're still moving. And until XRP, like I said this morning, until it breaks 208, I still believe that we still have a little bit of movement that can happen here. Now, the other thing here that could be happening, because I still think unless we break this down at, what is this, 205? This is a big W reversal here. We got a lot of reasons why we could break out still. You know, we do. Smaller time frame, a little bit of a reversal here. We're not playing bad. Right now, we're doing great. So as long as we stay over this, well, 208 is a big area, but 203, well, you don't really want to come down there, though. It's so tough. So tough. But right now, I don't feel bad about XRP where it's at. You know, I don't feel bad about where a lot of this is. That's a big reversal here. These look like little flags now. Are they going to play out? Can we come back down and maybe we dump down to back to... We could. But these look like big inverse patterns that are getting ready to just break out. And then when we go back to XDC here, how did this look at the time? I would argue it's a little bit different. It's not 100% the same before it broke down. But, I mean, you still had... Fuck. It's like at some point, this is going to reverse on us as well. Weekly's oversold, or monthly's oversold, weekly's moving up, daily's significantly oversold, getting ready for some kind of movement. Something's getting ready. Either we're going to go parabolic in this market and XDC's going to reverse, because that's almost what it feels like. That XDC's just clearing something bigger out. So I would just be cautiously optimistic right now. Stay cautious. I mean, just stay cautiously optimistic. That's the best thing I can do. I think it's the best thing we can all do. We stay cautiously optimistic about this market, knowing if we stay over around that $2.05 area, you know, we should be able to cook here. But if it breaks that area, you know, we cook a no more. But right now, with the way this is set up, it looks good right here for a push up. Like, I still believe that $2.61 area can happen. I also am not a dummy, and I know we could break down as well, but, You know, sometimes you have to look at the micro, macro, and right now, in this little area, it looks okay right now. I think it looks okay right now. Oh yeah, Trump saying time to invest is not a great sign. We don't want to hear him say that. I don't disagree with that. It's the last thing I wanted to hear, in fact. But sometimes it's an optical illusion. We get so trained that he says this, that happens, remember? And then all of a sudden, it doesn't. And a bunch of people are left sitting on the sidelines because they were afraid of what could have been in yesteryear. That's happened a lot, too. Man, XDC, though, it's following the trajectory perfectly. If it does come down here, this last little bit, and it dumps down into here, I mean, if you look at this, the monthly is just so out of whack. The weekly is actually pushing up. The daily, the 4 hourly is breaking down a little bit. The daily is so oversold. But that you got to remember, these momentum things can stay oversold or overbought for a very long time once they get into one of the ranges. But I would just say with XRP, I would just focus with XRP and just say, okay, if we stay over $2.05, we're cooking. And call it a day. It's actually like 206 or... But you want to be over 208. Like, there's no doubt about that. If it comes under 208, we're screwed. Yes, winning Wednesdays, yes. But sometimes when you see certain things, you know, for a while, because we had such an artificial run-up, we had to let this correct. So I didn't do winning Wednesdays. Even though XDC's cheap, I didn't want everybody to buy winning Wednesdays when it made this little artificial push-up unless we broke past this box. Because I knew we would have to retest. I mean, we might not come all the way down, but that's a big drop that we didn't have to buy. So now, just by not doing it for the last 2 weeks or so, we were able to allow this to drop now. And now it's XDC's down 18% already. You know, in the last 2 weeks, roughly 10 days. Yeah, well, you can trade it on most platforms. You can trade XAU and XAG, I believe it is. XAU is the trade tokenized gold. And XAG, I believe it is to do silver. And then you also have PaxG for gold as well. But I like XAU if you're going to trade digitized. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. I absolutely see it. I'm not telling anybody to sell it. Just like I absolutely see it with XRP. So I said we're either in, because this looks like we're about to break out in a nice way with XRP today. You know, today it looks like that. If that can push up. That's why I'm looking at the fact that maybe this one time it'll play to our favor, and maybe XDC's not behind or in front. Maybe it's just clearing out its own path and it's trying to do its own thing. Like, that's another thing that I'm looking at, and I'm hopeful, very hopeful that that could happen. Has anybody looked at that scenario? That maybe that could play out? Because I'm honestly looking at that scenario as well. That we can play out in something like that. Like something crazy. Looking at a lot of scenarios here, folks. A lot of scenarios. The scenario that makes sense to me today is if we're going to go soon. We're going to break this candle and turn it into a bearish candle. If we're going to, even in the, if we're going to do this, it's going to happen now. If it breaks back down and we have to back test here, so be it. Or even come down farther. But if we're going to do this, this flag is set up, a double bottom here at 211. So really, if 211 holds, we're golden. That's what you're looking at right now. You're trying to get a breakout before we break 211 there. That's the best way I can put it this morning. You're trying to get a breakout before 211 breaks down. That'd make it pretty clear for everybody, I think. I actually do think that makes it pretty damn clear. I think that makes it clear. I'm actually okay with that explanation. Julie, how are you, my love? Okay. Need something, just let me know. Okay. But we'll see if we get some volatility during this live. I would love to see some volatile push up. And I would also love to see the finish of like just the rounding part or just the expansion of the XR. Because it looks like if we're gonna break out, we got the 4-hour candle. Even at $2.14, if we're gonna break out, we really shouldn't reverse this. So maybe 214, even if you don't want to go all the way to 211. But 214, yeah, I mean, definitely. We're within a tight window right here to where if we're going to break out, we're going to break out. Yeah, I think XDC, with the way it's projecting, I would say about that 4.2, what was that? Or 4.34, because this is the bottom of this descending pattern. 4.34, 4.35, it looks like. Otherwise, if XDC keeps falling out, I mean, you could theoretically come back and retest the all-time support, but it doesn't make sense. I've talked about this. Once you get below 0.1, it could actually come to like 4.1. It depends how far it rides. Sense, it doesn't make sense in the all-time pattern. You're getting pretty to the bare bones here of how far we can go to keep this inverse pattern set. Like it's doing exactly what it needs to do. And at a certain point, though, it's not going to make sense anymore. Just like with gold and silver. Like silver, when it made that cup and handle, at a certain point, it didn't make sense that it had to keep dropping or it could drop any further. There's just that breaking point where it's just not going to make sense anymore. And we're getting close to this with silver, or with XDC. I've made the argument that maybe it can pull it out something like this. And we could say, oh, well, maybe that's an artificial neckline. So that's about as far as I'm willing to let it go, like 3.98 cents. So if I'm targeting this, maybe it does come down there and it artificially backtest that. And that's where we would create, we got a lot of congestion, one last drop into here, then we work our way out. But it doesn't make much sense to come any lower than roughly that area. I want everybody to know that because we're built on an inverse head and shoulders. So make your decision in these zones, what you think is going to happen with XDC. Let's see. I see XDC going to 0.36. If it can't hold, then I see it going to a downtrend, down to 0.026. That's a great eye. If this doesn't hold for me, I'm seeing somewhere, and we would have to do it in real time. So now we have to move this up in real time. So let's just say it takes, a couple months. Now it's still 224. If you go to the all-time pattern, so that's, in my opinion, it's either it would break down to 2.2, but if we break to the upside when we do, 13.7 is a real big target that's going to be out there. You're going to have that micro target at about, I believe it's 8.5, 9 cents, depending on how far you break down out of this pattern. But I think this is going to be a bump in the road. Yeah, XLM's doing great. XLM's doing fine. XLM, XRP are doing okay in these moments. XLM again in the daily bullish engulfing if it can maintain it. That's why we're in a spot right now in the 4 hourly where if we're gonna push up, we're gonna push up. And then if we're going to break down, this is where it could get a little dicey here rather quickly. A lot of money's being diverted into metals right now, so we always have to have that eye. But, metals is hitting a very long-term target on that cup and handle right now for silver. So something's going to give one way or the other. Mr. Stott, I forgot about your question, but I do remember it. So with the capital requirements, so basically with the new capital requirements, so if you had a 1,000-ounce option, which is what a lot of them do, you have 1,000 ounces of silver. So to keep that open, now they're asking for an additional $20,000 basically of collateral, of money, so that option isn't closed. So capital requirement. And they've already raised it like 3 times. So the CME group significant, well, that was in December. There was one yesterday too. Margin requirement significantly in late December. See, I don't know why they're not talking about this on here. They definitely made a raise of the capital requirement. Again. But it made it another $20,000 per 1,000 ounces in the contract that you had to put forward further towards it. But it's supposed to take, it says anywhere, I think 24 to 48 hours, because depending on which organization it is, you get, I think 1 to 2. I know on certain things when I used to be in this, you get 24 hours, but there's also, because of the way that they put this in so suddenly, you can get extensions to 48 hours for the margin call. There's ways to do it. So there's a lot. But like crypto right now, this 4 hour goes the way we want, man. This is going to be the candle. That should help us get some bullishness. So we should be happy. Everybody should be happy. If you appreciate my work, consider subscribing to Tom's Army. Making sure to hit that like button, sharing this, paying it forward with the YouTube Super Chat, or gifting a sub to your fellow member in this community. Help me expand my brand. If somebody wants to sponsor my show and it makes sense, reach out to me. But it has to make sense, as I have no sponsor for this show. I want somebody who would actually believe in what I do, would actually help me get my name out there even further. But it would have to make sense. Something that makes sense. You never know. Maybe one day it'll be the Cannabis Podcast, who's my biggest sponsor when they make a huge name for themselves. Maybe somebody in this community's already made it big and they want to sponsor this beautiful community, while also giving themselves a little publicity. That would be the most ideal case. So, but yeah, that's a good way to expand the community in a way that keeps it within. I would have endless sponsorships from community members and promote their stuff. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Still marketing. I market for you. You help push my program. But that's what I'm secretly looking for. Somebody from this community to step up to be a big sponsor of this show. That may have a big company. Maybe they have a jeweler. Maybe they deal with precious metals. Maybe they deal with somewhere in crypto. You have your own entity. Hell, maybe you have a snowblowing business and you want to get the word out and you're like, I want to sponsor this guy X amount a month so that he'll talk about my stuff and put a link there in his stuff. I'm okay with that. Doesn't matter what it is. Didn't fact check, but I seen the U.S. Mint was repricing everything due to price run. I don't know how official that is, but that's been floating around here recently. And that would make something very... my best guess is they're going to find a way to drive us down to that imbalance zone at 83 or 82 just to avoid some of these margin calls sooner rather than later. Being over 85 it's going to have repercussions. Like for us in silver, if this plays out, well, we're going to 107 next if they don't do something about it. And we're going to be so freaking... We're going to be so euphoric, but we're also going to be so thankful and blessed. Dirty trade you've tried sharing to your friends, but to no avail. They wish to remain sheep. I know. Trust me, I get it. I get it. I can't even convince most of my family, and I stopped trying years ago. Unfortunately, it's a sad proclamation, but it's, you know, it's the truth. We try, but we can only try so much. We can only do so much. End war, metals down. I know. Not just that. Usually the early warning signs that metals are going to get a little bit of a cool off is when oil starts to go up. Because it makes production costs a little bit more for the miners. But look at, just like we talked about, it would be this 4-hour candle if it started moving. And look what just happened with Bitcoin. Literally after we were talking about that. That's why we always talk about, do the charts not matter? I mean, we projected this move right when the start happened. That's because the charts do matter. I'll fight anybody about the charts not mattering. Now with XDC, I'll again get that question. Where is the entry, Tom? You're basically in no man's land. But if we do get I'm telling you right now, if we get a sudden reversal, it does not make sense to break this area down here. It doesn't make sense to come down much lower. We're kind of in that spot now where if you start looking at this from a legitimate standpoint, and you're like, all right, we're down 20% in 10 days. Even if we come all the way down here, I mean, that's plus minus of about 5. Unless it comes all the way down here is 16. So, Tom's Army, bare knuckle boxing, the next UFC. Oh, that would be funny. Well, I don't know. I haven't been watching XLR. Probably because the rest of the market's running. I think we have an up right now. Those who have eyes will see. Those who have ears will hear. Remember what we talked about? The best case scenario would be if crypto started running while metals was getting to the technical price targets. Because a lot of the technical people are going to sell when it hits 93 and they're going to say, especially the paper, and they're going to look for an asset to find. And I would love for them to see some green, whether artificial or not. You know? You want to see green. It gives people the ability to start looking. They look and they see a green market and they're, ooh, I can throw my money in there and compound this gain. Tom, how can we invalidate wave 5 down for good, like 5 up? Get above $2.64 and ultimately break out of the broadening or the bullish megaphone. We get out of the bullish megaphone, you could make the argument, like I said before, that we might have just started a first wave, you know, a decent wave, and try to invalidate. But we would have to not only get above 261, you'd have to get above right here. Right now in real time is about $2.87. Wait a minute. This is not the right chart. Oh, yes, it is. $2.87. Then you could invalidate that movement down, at least for the time being, because you'd have an open door up to about $4. That's what we're ultimately hoping is building. Which, to put it in layman's terms, if you have 10,000 tokens, you'd go from about $21,700 right now to about 40. Head and shoulders pattern on the DXY daily. Be careful with that in the daily time frame, because the DXY is an inverse head and shoulders that it's trying to build off of. And if this plays out right, this could be the imbalance effect for metals if this had a big move up. Because if this did play out, you'd expect some movement up to probably up to this resistance at 102.78. Something's going to create an imbalance here, and I don't know what it is. I really don't. It could just be that the target's going to get hit. It could be the capital requirements continue to be raised. It could be the caveat that the U.S. dollar is going up. And as we know, metals are never going down or up. It's based on the U.S. dollar's perceived value in the moment. So there's a lot of things that can happen. But for crypto defined to get out of this mess, first things first, let's get above $2.20 and then ultimately 24 cents and hold this. Right now we're in no man's land. And I mean no man's land. We need to get higher. Up higher. Yeah, we definitely did bounce off so far. I hustle harder than you. And yeah, we do have an uptrending, the RSI support, and it's speaking to a potential breakout here. Just with the market volatility, and I'm going to keep in the back of my head what's happening with XDC just so, I'm not going to be caught off guard if this doesn't work out. But it would be a little bit demoralizing for just a moment because it's set up and it cleared out and put a double bottom in here so freaking perfectly that if we can just avoid, because you're not going to want to come back down here, and you don't even want to put a reversal or come back below the median here, but it's put in such a perfect positioning here that if this played out, it's got a perfect W reversal, it's got a flag. So I mean, if we just want to be honest, that's why I kind of measured it strategically like this, so you could see the expansion out. That is a real target, what I had out here. Maybe a little bit lower. But just how this built, I mean, we're talking about trying to retest. And this is where I could see the ultimate resistance. I think it would be around 224 is what we're aiming for, even if we get rejected. Nick's talked about it. MQ's talked about it. Scotty Trades. A lot of people have talked about it. Joseph Euler, by the way, I seen that you signed up for live classes recently. Thank you so much for the faith, trust that you've instilled in me. I really, 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 really appreciate it more than you could ever imagine. I really appreciate it. Like, more than you know. It meant a lot to me to see that. Especially some of you that I've seen signed up. It means a lot. So, I'm going to share real quick. And this is just a basic summary, just so you can get a feel for anybody who's in the classes. I'm going to do a test share, and it's only going to be for that category. So if you're not in that category, you're not going to be able to see it. And this is also what's going to happen with the lives. It'll just be that category or higher. But I'm going to share this real quick so you guys can kind of get an idea. And don't worry, I'm going to make sure to put that this is like a pre-syllabus. Official. So if you guys want an idea of what it's going to look like, you can definitely go take a look. If you're already part of it, that is. And then I'll share it to everybody as well so that you can get an idea, of just what the class syllabus would look like. No, I'm not going to share that right now for everybody else. I changed my mind. I want the people in there to see it. I can show you it separately, but I'm not going to share it in a different way. I can show you it though. So this is just the idea. So you're not even going to get into the charts for a little while. So if you're interested in it, we're literally starting from the beginning. In the official syllabus when it's released, it's going to look a little different. But there's also going to be a further breakdown within each class. So like phase 1, we're doing the foundations of value, the why before looking at a chart. The student must understand the nature of the game they're playing. We're going to go through the evolution of money. We're going to go through the purpose of investing, the macro ecosystems, the human bias in markets, to developing the trader's mindset. And they've got different phases. In phase 3, we get the technical analysis. So we got 2 whole phases with 5 modules to get through. And then we'll get through the core pillars. But these all break down, like it says module 1, but there's literally, it breaks each module down, each phase into 4 different sections, which can take countless amount of time as well. Awesome, it worked. I love it. So, I mean, this is going to be a big breakdown. And if we stay long enough, look how cool this gets. When you get into pattern recognition, and then you end up getting in liquidity and institutional flows, the business of trading. We also talk about in risk management. Where was this at? Oh, the advanced technicals. If you can make it to phase 5, the advanced technicals, we talk about extreme advanced concepts with price action, like the Fibonacci retracements and extension, the Elliott wave theories, the Wyckoff schematics, Then we talk about in module 12, liquidity and institutional flow, identifying smart money footprints, order blocks, and fair value gaps, stop hunts, and liquidity grabs. We'll talk about all of this stuff. And we're not done in module 13. This is just an estimate. So the farther you guys follow along with me, the farther in phases you get, the more that we're going to be more unified. And by the time we get through this first phase of the 13th module, you're going to be ready to open up a portfolio with me. Not my own, not my company, because I don't have one, but we're going to open up a file together. We're probably going to start with a long-term investment, maybe a mutual fund or something together that returns a rate of return year over year. And we'll probably try to build something together while we do this. This is going to be a crazy class, guys. And we're not even going to get into the technicals until we get into phase. I'm telling you, it's going to throw people away. Phase 3, and we start in the beginners. And there's so much cool stuff in here. There's so much cool stuff, but starting with phase 1, oh, it's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait to start in February, but I'm giving the grace to everybody so they have a chance. And then if you come late, this is all going to be saved, and you'll be able to watch it, even if you can't watch the lives in real time. And then eventually there'll be a separate category that might be, I don't know, the OG category or something, where you'll be able to see the rendition of the live classes in its own category. Nah, I might keep it the same, but there might be a price break there so that if you don't want to be in the lives, but you want to see the information kind of thing. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I put a lot of work into this, and there's going to be a lot more work, I can promise you. You haven't seen nothing yet. This is just, yeah. So yeah, and I kept it all on YouTube. It's $49.99. I was going to do it on Zoom and make you guys go through all that nonsense, but I'm going to pay for the professional Zoom with some of the money paid for my class. And then I'm going to be using Zoom, so you're going to see a professional classroom setting. Like if you ever took an online class, they do it through Zoom. It's exactly what I'm going to have mine set up as. So it's all going to be, it's going to be great. I talk to fib extensions and stuff, but I don't actually like to use the fib. I look for them for reinforcement if other people post it, but I come up with the fibs myself by knowing the technicals, and then it'll be whatever the fib extensions. That's why my numbers are the same as the fibs. But yeah, I'll teach people how to use it, but when I do this on YouTube, I don't like the fibs, because I don't personally use them as much as most people. I don't ever pull them up myself, if I'm being honest. I'll look to see where the actual levels are, but I don't like to really use it. I would rather just use the chart and give me the information. I've talked about that for years. But I'm not opposed to teaching it when we get into the advanced part, just like the Wyckoff and the Elliott wave. I have no opposition. But before you ever figure out how to do a 5-wave or an ABC correction or, WXY and all this other crap and impulse and a distribution and just all this other stuff, you got to go through the basics of human anatomy. So we'll get there when we get there. I appreciate the 100 likes. I really do. I really, really do appreciate those 100 likes more than you know. Yeah, I don't mind that. I hustle harder than you. Putting up stop losses because you want to look for re-entry rather than giving back money. I completely understand that. I completely understand that. And that's why another strength here is if you're in, the spot positioning instead of leverage, it's a big positioning fill here. This is a great spot. But I do appreciate everybody who's looking forward to that. It's been what? There's no way. Yesterday this happened to me too. How can I check the first time and it's an hour and 8 minutes? I was going to say maybe we got 20 minutes. It's an hour and 8 minutes already. That's craziness. But I want to come into a vertical live so we can continue this discussion. I think I'm all charted out right now. I want to come back to... I know it's going to hurt my algorithm, but I think I might want to come back and talk to everybody through a vertical. Yeah, if you can do 12% a year, minimum of 8, but if you can do a 12% year over year, every 7 years, you legitimately double. And then you add in the dividend payments if you're doing mutual funds, if you're doing it, if you find the right companies, and that exacerbates it. Tom, I know some people have canceled their membership to be able to get the upgrade to Works, and some are having problems signing up. Oh, that's fair. For some reason, there seems to always be an issue with the stuff linked to me. I don't know why. But I definitely was reading some of that in the, I definitely was reading some of that in the Telegram as well. I try to only speak when I need to because I don't want to confuse people, but I like to have a good conversation every now and then. Thank you, Mrs. Stott, and thank you also for being in town during 3+ months with the XRP Meteor, and hopefully Mr. Stott's doing very well this morning as well. But I really appreciate it. Bright Freedom, thanks for being in town during 3+ months. I can't thank this community enough, honestly. But if anybody's interested in continuing this discussion, do you guys think I should do a vertical live, or should I just, are you interested? Because I'll set it up, I'll go make my protein, and then I'll drink it after the vertical live. Because I think today would be a good day to further discuss what's going on. I think we could have a real nice discussion today. I actually do. Really nice discussion, to be honest. Nah, the ads will pull in not enough. The ads don't pull in much. Well, I mean, some. But it also breaks up the live. I don't like to break up the live. I could, I mean, but I don't know. Let's do it. Yes, Tom. Okay. Awesome. All right, so hopefully I'll see you guys back very shortly. I'm going to set it up for probably about 15 minutes to let this close down, or 20 minutes from now, maybe, so give it a minute. And then hopefully